Oh, yeah.
I think we're live.
Hey, we are live. Hey, everybody. Since we have no viewers, it's not a big deal that we were babbling on about business first. But welcome to the Fat Guys No More podcast. I am Scott, and Joe is on the other side of the screen. And in the middle, we have Tim, who's joining us tonight. Tim is a friend of Joe's and a CrossFitter, and we sucked him in to entertain us tonight, or at least have somebody to talk to.
So Tim, listen to that. You get introduced as a CrossFitter.
A CrossFitter. I'm not sure I would describe myself.
A true CrossFitter. Tim fits in, so I'll give a quick introduction of Tim. Tim is he fits in with us really well. He is a Fat Guy No More as well. We'll get a little bit more into his story in a little bit, but yeah, Tim's a member of my 5 a.m. class, and I've now known Tim for how long have you been coming to class?
June, I believe, will be 2 years.
Fat Guy No More. That's how it is right there. So thank you for joining us, seriously.
Looking forward to it. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for being here. The first thing we'd like to do is talk about our response to episode 1, which is where we had Jamie on, and the response was incredible. To think that we've had a podcast for like this will be our it's pilot 1, 2. This is our 3.5th episode because we have that weird thing that we did accidentally. But to think that in our very first one, we haven't any number of people, including ourselves, who said that story touched me so much that I actually cried listening to it. And we actually basically kind of got choked up and cried a little bit online. But the response to that was excellent. People have been contacting me, and we really appreciate that. And I want to just reach out to Jamie and say thank you again. Now, one thing that Joe picked up on in the middle of the podcast, and it became something that we did was a lot of fun, was we talked about Jamie's nipples. Or not, yeah, Jamie's nipples.
Yeah, we didn't talk about my nipples.
Yeah, not Joe's nipples. Those are only good for opening your iPhone. But the thing with Jamie's nipples, for those who didn't listen, and you probably should go back and listen because it may have been our best episode ever since it's the only other one, really. But is Jamie had artificial nipples put on, which she got them put on for her husband's birthday. So there was a lot of talk about Jamie's nipples. Tim, in case you don't know, Jamie had a double mastectomy due to breast cancer. So she didn't have nipples and she got some.
She didn't randomly have nipples put on. There's a reason for it. Apparently, when they do that, they cut your nipples off.
So apparently there's a CrossFitter. Joe, what's her name?
Brooke Entz.
Brooke Entz, who apparently is, well, as you'll see in a moment, is extremely well defined. And apparently she works out in a thin sports bra on a regular basis in a very cold gym. So
I don't know if it's cold, but she's
it looks like it's cold.
It doesn't matter where if they work out in California, wherever.
Well, she apparently posted on the Instagram this photo that I'm going to try and share, and I'm not exactly sure how this works with our stuff. So if it doesn't work, we'll get you a copy if you want it. So just let me know. But we posted this picture which shows her with her high beams on that says, "Do my nipples offend you?" And Joe said, "I thought Jamie would appreciate that." Well, not only does Jamie appreciate it, she wants that T-shirt. So if any of y'all want to sponsor Jamie's quest to have "Do My Nipples Offend You" T-shirt, this would be a great opportunity to reach out and make Jamie happy. So that was it. Joe, Jamie, and I enjoyed that.
I'm going to interrupt. If anybody's watching this, and I know we don't have any live viewers right now, but somebody will go back and watch it or listen to it. Tim, if you see me like stare at the screen really weird, it's because I've stopped listening to you guys. And Steven just sent me the workout for tomorrow. So I was like, "Oh, what is the workout?"
What is the workout?
Let's all get real close.
I didn't see all what it was because it just popped up like a little bitty quick workout. It's whatever it is. It's 3 rounds for time. That's all I saw. That's what I know.
It's got to be a secret. You can't tell. You can't let him in on this. Or we're forward to Zoom later. So
that's right.
So also, and Joe can't really do this one because he has a conflict of interest. We have started receiving reviews on Facebook of our podcast. We always say like like and subscribe down there or up there or something on the YouTube. But on Facebook, there's an opportunity to review it. And when Joe first started working for me, he would always say, "My wife Sandra," and our friend Veronica would say, "We know who your wife is. Just say Sandra."
I probably do
He
that.
still does. He still does.
So Joe's wife Sandra wrote us a great review, and we really appreciate that. She has actually advocated binge watching or listening to the podcast, and we actually advocate that as well. So it's a good time to get caught up because you don't want to get too far behind and not be able to catch up. In addition, we do know that Matt Reichard listened to or watched our podcast because he told us what time he got mentioned. I don't think he told us all the times he got mentioned because later in that episode, we did go off on Matt Reichard and his credit card.
Yeah, because he did not hear me say I stole his credit card.
Tim, if you need anything, at the end, we'll just bill it all to Matt Reichard's credit card.
If all of a sudden next month's boiler room payment doesn't go through, you let me know. I'll hook you up with Matt Reichard's
Yeah, exactly.
It'll be fine.
I'm joining boiler room, and I'm going to just take Uber. I can sleep on the way over just using Matt Reichard's credit card. So, yeah. So that it's been a good week for shout outs. So one of the things we'll get more into the discussion of the weekly update in a little bit, but since we didn't have a weekly update podcast, and my hands are moving all over and I'm not. Since we didn't have a weekly update podcast, we need to have a weekly update. By the way, we didn't do a sound check. Am I too loud?
No, I think you're fine.
Okay. I have to throttle myself down. I have a bellowing voice. So.
Scott's a yeller.
No, I was just not born with an inside voice. Anyway, what did I say we were going to talk about?
I think the plans for the podcast, and we need to get Tim's input on this.
Actually, the weekly update was supposed to be more like our training or updates on what's going on with you and me. So
I'm gonna grab a power cord while y'all are doing that because I see my battery fading quickly.
That's probably a good idea.
Yes, do that.
So, Joe, tell me about 18.1. How did that all go? What was your score? Where did you rank?
18.1, while it was a good one for me at the gym, started off with toes to bar, which I'm not too bad. Basically, you hang from the bottom of a bar and you kick the bar you're hanging from. Started with toes to bar and then a little bit of dumbbell clean and jerks and ended with some rowing. I'm really good at dumbbell clean and jerks. I'm really good at rowing. Toes to bar, not so much, but it was a 20-minute workout. I did not do as well as I thought. I ended up in the top 77%, bottom 77%.
That's Tim's belly, in case anybody's wondering.
I ended up on the 77% of the good side, whatever that is. I was in the better than half the people that did it, but it was not a terrible workout for me, but it wasn't a great one either.
Tim, did you do 18.1?
I did. I honestly don't know what my results were. I did okay for me. I was able to RX it, so for me that's a win.
Yeah.
Well,
so RX,
what does that even mean?
Yeah, RX is basically doing things as prescribed. So remember, I mentioned the toes to bar, right? You hang and you reach your feet up and touch the bar. So with CrossFit, most of the stuff is scalable. If you can't reach up and touch your toes to a bar.
Oh, so for me, it would be like if I can wiggle my toes, I would get a.
You get your knees. Yeah, if you can get your knees above your waist while hanging, so you're hanging and then you try to get your knees picked up. That way you don't. I just try to do that.
If I can get my toes to rise while hanging.
That's a good stuff. Or just hang. Just try to get to hang.
I can hang. I don't know for how long, and it might involve a rope under my arms or something.
The cool thing is, like we've talked about it. My mom does it.
Yeah.
And she's in the Masters division. The scaled version for the Masters, like she's in the old people Masters, 65 plus. No, she's not 65 plus. She's gonna kill me.
You're gonna be in
Holy
trouble.
cow!
61.
55 plus.
Yeah.
Oh.
She's in 55 plus. She's 61. But their scaled version, they didn't have to hang at all. They did sit-ups.
Okay.
So everything is scalable in there. But yeah, I did.
So if I just call myself like Josephine Patton and show up and pretend I'm a 65-year-old woman, I can get off easy?
Well, as long as you're
it's still pretty hard.
I was saying it's still 20 minutes. It doesn't matter who you are. It's still 20 minutes.
Gotcha.
So yeah, I think I almost did 10 rounds of the toes to bar and dumbbell clean and jerks and rowing. And Tim, I think you did what, like 7 rounds, 6 or 7.
I think I was in my 8th round. I think.
Yeah, he did real well.
Cool.
For somebody that just learned how to do toes to bar last year. I thought it was pretty good. And then this weekend we did 18.2 because they release them on Thursdays.
Oh, I thought they were like monthly.
No, it's weekly. They release them on Thursdays.
Oh, geez. Okay, so you guys, how many weeks in a row are you going to be doing this?
5 weeks. We go to the end of
18,
March.
1 through 5?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was confused on that.
No.
Wow.
Well, that's why one of the reasons, we talked about me running 9 miles today and then doing the workout yesterday, which was only 12 minutes this time. It wasn't full 20 minutes, but I'm pretty exhausted.
Well, for me, my week, I had a good week on the bike. I've been really not well. Last year in August, September, and October, I rode 800, 800, and 1,000 miles. And after you ride 2,600 miles in 3 months, you have this thing called fitness, and you don't get tired when you ride. You get stronger, and things are great. Well, I kind of
Tim.
I let some of that fitness go away. Just you got to take a break after that, and I've been struggling lately because I want to ride like I did in November, but I can't. Last week I managed to hit 3 different intentional PRs, which really made me feel pretty good. So it's like, yeah, okay, I'm coming around. And besides that, I have to keep reminding myself it's freaking February. You try to ride your bike well in later months, not necessarily in the middle of the winter. So that was good.
Well, the good thing is you're in Georgia, so we're having great weather right now.
Yeah, we are. I think it's supposed to be monsoon season on Tuesday, but other than that, this week's looking good. I think we're going back to 50s this week though, so that's not bad though. I can do it with 50s.
No, let me tell you what I did this week though. I feel bad for Tim. Tim, did you come the day we ran?
What day was that? I don't think I missed a day last week.
I think it might have been Tuesday.
No, I missed the rope climb's the only day I missed.
Whatever day it was cold. I felt bad. We had such great weather. And I wake up. We haven't been running as much at the gym, and I felt so bad because I pulled up to the gym and it's like 38 degrees. And that's the day we programmed running. I was like, hey, welcome back to running, guys. And it's cold. Good luck with this.
I should probably go check the live feed and see if we're still if we're still all nipply.
Can you did y'all just hear music or was that me?
I heard a little music.
I don't know what that was. Sandra's rocking out outside the bedroom. My wife, Sandra. Hey, the funny thing is, Tim, that's why I like to chase rabbits. That's why Steven, at the firm, they call him OBB because I refer to him as my brother Steven. And they're like, we know your brother, and Chad works there. They're like, well, you don't have to say my brother Steven. Stop saying it's the other brother. Just call him the other brother, and it's the other brother Bragg.
The other brother.
OBB.
So we refer to him as OBB. Yeah, we have 2 watchers now.
I'm one of them though. That's the problem. Now let me see if one goes away. And if you're watching and you want to leave a comment, feel free. One of them is you liked it apparently. You reacted.
Hold on. Watch this. Now I've reacted to something else. Give me love, baby. Look. Here we go. Say hey, Mr. Scott. Hey, Tim.
Sweetest little girl.
All right, give me a kiss.
Daddy.
Yeah.
Can I tell you?
No, Daddy's got to finish doing this. Okay,
No,
give me a kiss.
it's real quick.
Okay, it's real quick.
Can I tell you? My butt hurting.
Okay, I'm sorry your butt's hurting. Hey, Mommy will put some cream on it, okay? Give me a kiss. Give me a kiss. Go. Love you.
Classic.
That just happened. Did you hear Sandra say, Scott, edit that out?
I'm not that advanced and it's already live. We are not on delay.
It'll be real quick. My butt's hurting.
So one thing we're going to talk about a little bit more in a bit is Tim is actually a high school principal. And so he can probably relate to this. This weekend, the bicycle race that I worked was actually a junior national team qualifier. So we had juniors ages 15 to 18 from all over the country come to Woodstock, Georgia, and Ball Ground, Georgia, to race their bicycle to try and qualify for the national team, which you can imagine anytime you assemble about 85 teenagers on bicycles, there's going to be some oddity. So let's see, yesterday, my job as a motor official is to make sure that everybody obeys the rules. And one of the key rules is the center line rule. You're not allowed to be on the other side of center line because it's open to oncoming traffic. And if you're over there, you get dead. And we don't like people getting dead. So this gentleman decides he's going to pass about a dozen people on the wrong side of the yellow line. So I scoot up there on my motorcycle and I tell him to go to the back of the field. The first time you do it, if it's not a complete travesty, we have them go all the way to the back and then they can start racing again. I went up and I told this guy, you need to go to the back. And he replies, okay, and moves back about 6.5 inches. That's about all. He just eased off for a second and started riding again. I said, dude, to the back. He goes, oh, sorry, bro, I forgot. I'm like, this just happened right here in the last 30 seconds of our lives, and you told me you forgot. Yeah. So Tim shaking his head, yep, I believe it. So then this happened like 3 times before he got to the back of the field. And keep in mind, if you just coast, the field's going 22 miles, 23 miles an hour. You don't have to do any effort to go back. It's actually easier to go back. So when he got to the back, he's like, dude, I don't know. I couldn't remember. I'm sorry. I'm like, okay, man. You keep up with that. So today, a very simple the scenario. This story starts exactly the same. A kid attacks, moves up. I go up and get him, and I take him all the way to the back. And this time he doesn't argue. He doesn't do anything. Goes to the back like he's supposed to. Well, then I pull back up to monitor things, and I'm on the wrong side of the road, legally and everything. I'm not supposed to be there, but I'm being careful. And Sandra's commenting, and I can't see them. Oh, Emmy says hi. Hi, Daddy. Yeah, I'll put that on the screen. There you go.
Thank you, baby.
And she told me to edit that out. But so the rider goes to the back, and I go back up, and I look over about a quarter mile later, and the same car that I've taken to the back is now next to me on the wrong side of the road. And I say to him, if you're going to break the rules of the game, of the sport, you might not want to do it next to the official. And you guys don't know the outfit I'm wearing, but in short, it's a bright blue vest. And on the back, the full width of my back, about this high, it says official in big letters. And there's a sticker on the back of my helmet that says motor ref. And the guy says to me, oh, I didn't know you were an official. And this is where the story really, right there, you're shaking your head like, oh my God. The kid next to him goes, dude, you're a freaking idiot. I almost crashed the motorcycle laughing at the kid. And I actually cleaned that up to stay PG-13.
I was gonna say, look at I know you told us you might get the one F-bomb we're allowed to have before going explicit, but you kept it off.
There was one on the road, and technically you're not allowed to use foul language in a bike race, but I can't say that I felt the need to issue him a warning or a relegation for that transgression at the moment.
Well, I can say this, as a CrossFit judge, you are allowed to use foul language. It is okay and warranted, and we understand it. In fact, I think the first time I heard OBB cuss in a long time was during 18.1, and he was falling apart. But yeah, I was like, did he just say that? Because I'm the brother with the foul mouth.
Maybe there is something in CrossFit for me. Freedom.
Oh, you would fit in right well with our class.
Cool. All right, so that pretty much wraps up my week. Some bike riding, some bike races, and we got 18.1 and preparing for 18.2 set up.
No, we're going to 18.3.
Oh, I'm confused.
Yeah, remember it's once a week. 18.3 is coming out on Thursday.
Oh, well, we're not there yet. You're doing 18.2. I'm confused.
Yeah,
we've
we're
already done
preparing.
18.2.
Oh, you've done it?
Yeah, we're preparing now for 18.3.
Gotcha. But you don't have any clue what it is. So you could be doing those toe raises and that'd be completely inapplicable, correct?
Yeah, so I'm gonna plug real quick our gym. So Stephen usually goes live with it. So if you want to watch it this week, and I don't think Tim knows this, the head-to-head, what we do is they announce the workout on Thursday. We have 2 of our athletes go head-to-head. And this week it's going to be Tim.
No, it's not.
I'm just kidding. It's not Tim. No, this week's actually, it is going to be my mom. It's we have my mom, Becky, and we have another Masters athlete, 55 plus. Its name is Becky. So it's going to be Becky versus Becky this week.
Well, I don't know if this would help in any way, but I could provide access to this this tool if this works out.
I don't know how it would work. I mean, he goes live, but I think he only needs the one screen.
If you ever have a need for something of that nature, we'll work out the technological details in the background, which is French for "I'll give you my password."
Then you can do play-by-play.
Exactly.
Ooh, don't tempt Stephen. We'll have a desk set up and everything.
Well, now we'll find out if he watches it. OBB, if you're watching, the gauntlet has been thrown down.
Yeah, we'll set something up.
All right. So now some podcast business, and we want Tim. You're not necessarily the judge, the jury, and the executioner here, but your input is very valid to us since we don't get a lot of input. And Sandra's watching, so she may want to comment, and she may already know what we're going to talk about because Joe's already planted the seed and said that he's slow and doesn't like to do things very quickly. And I'm like a rabbit. He's like, I'm the rabbit and he's the hare. Or no, I'm the hare and you're the tortoise. I don't know. Okay, so let me cut through all that gibberish that I just spewed. I'm trying to keep my head centered.
Hold on, you called Sandra out for watching, and then she left.
That's true. She's like, oh, no, they know I'm watching. Okay, so the deal is, through our first, we did a ghetto episode just to prove we could do it. Then we did the pilot, which was just Joe and I. And then we did episode 1, which was Joe, Jamie, and I. And you're on episode 2. And in the discussions along the way, I somehow got the idea that it would be cool, rather than us talking about our fitness and our weight loss and us as much, it would be cool that on Wednesday, and it could be Thursday or Tuesday, it doesn't really matter, do a just Scott and Joe midweek. There you go. That's another way to put it. A Scott and Joe update. And no, we should that's too much. We should stick to just Sunday. And my thoughts, and I will allow Joe to retort, even though he's wrong. My thoughts are when Matt Reichert, another Matt Reichert shout out, first saw our podcast, he goes, dude, it's like an hour. So many people wouldn't commit to an hour. And Joe's, and I think it would be cool to have somebody that we chat with about various subjects on a weekend or the weekly thing, so that we have different flow of content, and then have just the Scott and Joe update in the middle. Joe, on the other hand, thinks we should just do one a week, and I'll allow
either. I like that. I changed my mind on that, by the way. I like the I'm allowed to change my mind. I like having a Scott guest, a Joe guest, or 2 guests in a row, and then a week of Joe and Scott updates. So it'd be 2 on and then 1 off. That's my new thing. Still only on Sundays.
I'm still having a hard time even following what the plan is.
Here you go. Okay. So plan.
Tim,
I'm not even going to label them. Bullet point. The first bullet idea is 2 a week. Have a guest on a weekend type thing that lasts about an hour, and we talk with the guest a lot, and we get to know you and stuff like that. And then during the week, midweek, as Joe eloquently put it, we have a mini episode. And Scott and Joe hang out for about a half hour, a shorter episode. So we actually have 2 episodes landing a week, but one of them's like a mini and one's a regular.
Right.
The other option is continue going every other week. That my thought was every other week would be like last week it was Jamie, who was a friend of mine and cycling related, and this week we have you, who's CrossFit related, and then we'll try and go back and forth. Now Joe has come up with option number the third option, which I'm not trying to number them by priority, but which is go Scott guest, Joe guest, no guest, Scott guest, no guest, Joe guest, no guest. Just go through a 3-week, but still do it once a week. So what are your thoughts there?
Mine?
Yeah.
I thought your screen froze, dude. Yeah,
make the decision.
The routine of it, I guess, will be good. So that the once a week, you always know it's going to be the same day. If I'm somebody that's going to watch it, I'm going to watch. I'm going to want to know that on a certain day that's when the show is going to come on. But I'm a creature of habit. Of course, this is kind of late for me, and I'd be in bed about 25 minutes ago if I wasn't doing this.
The beauty of this is you can watch it on Facebook Live. You can listen to it on Podbean. You can listen to it on iTunes. You can listen to it on Google Play, or you can watch it on YouTube tomorrow. So if you're into it, like you're saying, if you're a creature of habit, you're like, oh, it's Monday, it's lunchtime. Let me go find out what Joe and Scott are up to. That actually does still fit, even though you wouldn't catch it live.
Yeah, Sandra doesn't usually actually catch these live. She watches them or listens to. I think she listens to them. My mom watched it. Sandra listens to it on iTunes while she cooks. She doesn't.
Well, based on the fact that we have 0 viewers live right now, I kind of think live is not exactly the important thing. But the cool thing is the tool. The way we did it the first week, Tim, I don't know if you watched it or anything, but we used Google Hangouts. So if I was talking, it brought me all the full screen and put Joe in a little corner, and it would do the same thing with you. You'd both be small icons. And then when you talked, you'd go full screen and I'd go to a small icon. So it kind of the screen, it wasn't necessarily flashing, but right now one day maybe I'll let Joe host it so I can see the display you guys get, but I can see the display, and we have all 3 of us side by side, and we have our names, and it doesn't matter who's talking. Everybody can see everybody.
Yeah, well, I'm assuming Tim has the same thing I do, which is you guys are here, and I am little guy in the corner. Well, but little guy in the corner. Is that about right, Tim?
About right. We're all stacked on top of each other. Scott's at the top, then you, and I'm at the bottom.
That's the way we like it.
What kind of phone do you use, Tim?
iPhone.
Oh.
Love them or hate, there's no middle ground.
Actually, that.
Hold on, I'm working on Scott. I'm giving him. It's only taken me 5 or 6 years. I'm working on him. He's slowly coming on board.
The funny thing is, and Joe knows this, I don't dislike iPhone. Actually, I just like Android more. So with that, I think we'll stick with weekly until we determine that we want to change. And we'll determine next week's going to be hard for me to find a guest because it's spring break. We'll talk more about that later. Actually, no. Yeah, next week, if we do this, I will be doing this from Florida, which would be kind of cool. I could do it from. Did you have an itch on your nose like Jamie?
Nope, I just flipped you the bird. There was no itch there.
But anyway, so yeah, Tim, I do have a 16-year-old son, Derek, who lives in Fort Worth, Texas, and he's coming to go for spring break. So anyway, on that note, Tim Huff,
it's my turn.
High school principal, CrossFitter. Where do you want to start? Tell us what made you go to CrossFit Boiler Room. Let's go with that start. Let's start. Use that as our first rabbit hole.
I had a couple guys that I work with at Bremen that were going regularly, and of course listen to them talk about it. We had a local gym here in town. I gave it a try there for a short time. That gym didn't stay open, but then in talking with the guys at the gym that I work with, I knew I needed to get in shape. I was in terrible shape. And they kept telling me, I promise you that they'll scale it for you. So I just went and gave it a try, and I was in terrible shape when I got there.
I'll nod for that. Yeah,
it was ugly.
It was pretty terrible.
It was
So you earlier you mentioned you said with pride. I mean, I heard it in your voice. You RX'd the thing. So as you've gone through this journey, getting to the point where you RX'd or did it as prescribed, that's been a big deal for you?
Oh, big deal. I mean, when I started, I mean, someone shared a picture with me last week. It's one of the first workouts I did there. I was probably 310 pounds and, struggling just the warm-ups were killing me. We'd go out and run 400 meters. They were having to scale that. So I stayed in the parking lot. I couldn't do the full runs. It was rough. So yeah, quite a bit of weight loss since then. And more than that, I can just, like the workout, being able to RX is a big deal. I mean, to be able to complete the activity.
That actually sounds like it to me.
Yeah.
I mean, because I know that I've kind of fallen off my push-up challenge, and I can't do push-ups. I've been a cyclist my whole life. I can probably leg press more than both of you guys. I can't squat because I don't have the flexibility, but leg press is no problem. But push-ups, cyclists don't use their arms, it's like, and their chest. So once I was able to like just drop and do 20 push-ups, that was a pretty big deal for me. I know you're probably like, yeah, I could probably do 1,000, but
no. There's still a lot of things I still have to scale, but I'm scaling less than I used to.
That's cool. That's really cool.
Well, and that's one cool thing about the Open that you'll find because we talk about that at least for the next 4 or 5 weeks. Last year during the Open, this is Tim's second year doing the Open. I actually think that was one of your questions. So look at that transition.
Yeah.
I was Tim's judge. Segue right there. I was Tim's judge last year during the Open.
Horrible. He was a terrible judge. Blind.
I wasn't gonna go with the one that I judged him multiple times last year.
Yeah, he said I heard the words no rep, no like 1,000 times.
But the one I was probably most proud of him with is when he got his first toes to bar. We were talking about kicking your feet up, and he told me from the beginning, "There's no way I can do this." And he's a big boy, so I was like, "Well, let's just give it a shot and see what happens." And I don't even think he tried, but 2 or 3 times, and finally his feet got up there and kicked the bar. And so that's some of the more exciting stuff. When you for the Open, you find you pushing yourself a little bit harder. Because it is a competition.
There's a lot of fear hanging from your fingertips when you're 300 pounds and trying to get your toes up above your head. The fear of falling is real.
Yeah, I can actually see that, and this is coming from a guy who will regularly bomb a descent on a bicycle at 50 miles an hour and not even care about it. But the thought of hanging from a bar and trying to kick my toes up, that's terrifying. But then to think of people looking at me while I was trying to do that.
A room full of people.
Yeah. I don't care if it's a room or I could honestly, if it was Joe, I'd be like, whatever. Because Joe's seen me in some pretty bad ways. But if you showed up, I'd be like, no, I'm all right. That's good.
I'm good. So yeah, I think that's one thing. Watching him get his first toes to bar last year, and then this year we had the toes to bar, and he had no issues at all. He jumps up there and does 8 rounds of these things. It's been really cool.
No, it was cool this year to be able to when we were warming up, I was able to show some of the guys how I did it, because everybody's got a little different technique with the toes to bar. So it was kind of cool this year to be able to help instead of be helped so much.
It's actually kind of Joe's looking at notifications on his phone, I'm sure.
See me jump up.
Yeah. It's kind of funny you say that, because this weekend I started moto officiating. This is my 3rd year, and my dad. Long story short, my dad was instrumental in my career as a motor ref, because my dad actually wrote the manual that taught all the motor refs in the whole country how to be motor refs. And he did not teach me, but his pupils basically taught me. And this weekend, one of the local guys who I'm very good friends with, we're doing some stuff that he did not. I was able to. One of my mentors actually said it was really good because you were able to mentor him, and through the weekend, I could see the improvement in him based on you teaching him the stuff that we taught you. So I know that exact feeling. It's like right on the tip of my bald head.
So I know, Scott, you had a couple other questions you wanted to ask as far as CrossFit goes. Do you want?
Well,
I don't have your sheet up anymore.
that's pretty much. Here's what I had here. I said, CrossFit, how'd you get started? We already covered how he did in 18.1. We've and without being asked the question, has he done the open? We got that covered. So we're pretty much done with CrossFit, unless Tim has something. If he wants to give a testimonial to either CrossFit Boiler Room or CrossFit in general, now's a fine time to do it.
Well, I would say it's just doable for anyone. I mean, we've got like Joe, like you just said, his mom, she's 61, she's there, she rocks. I mean, we have all the way down to teenagers. My daughter, she's 16, she goes, just started with us a few months ago. It's there's a place and a fit for everyone.
His daughter's a rock star in there. She doesn't know it, but
it's coming.
She's also one of my favorite athletes. Literally, think about this, Scott. At 16 years old, she shows up at the gym at 5 a.m. Now, sometimes
not always happy about it.
I was like, sometimes she is dragged to the gym at 5 a.m., but the gym is open at 5 a.m. and she's there. So
that's awesome.
At least 2 or 3 times a week.
Yeah.
So that to me, that's awesome when kids show up. Because I know at 16 years old, there's no way in God's green earth I would have been there.
We argued about the open. I couldn't talk her into doing it, but Joe easily talked her into it, and she did tell me after 18.2 that she was glad she was doing it.
Isn't that kind of strange how if I say to my son, you should do this, there's no way in hell. But if Tim, who doesn't even know him, suggested, oh, yeah, that sounds a great idea.
I tried to shame her. I tried everything. It wasn't working.
All it took for me was
Joe
one
sends her a
text.
text, and she says, okay.
It took one text. Hey, I think you should do this. Okay, I'll be there. I'll be there in the morning.
That's awesome. So that's crazy. Yeah, I've toyed with it, and actually, I'm just gonna do a damn reveal right now. You can't stop me. I'm gonna talk. One of the things we're talking about doing is, Joe and I both have big events the middle of April. He's got that whole Ragnar thing, and I've got a Tour de Pink bike ride the middle weekend in April. And one of the things we're thinking about setting up is a 1 week Kill Scott with CrossFit, for which Joe will pay back by going for a 40-mile bike ride with Scott. So,
in theory, Tim, you should actually see him for when we do this. He's going to come to the 6 a.m. class.
I'm coming.
I'll wait to the 6 a.m. class then.
Because that would be cool, and I would like that. I also understand that if you have to get back to go to work or anything, that's fine too. But I'm coming from Decatur, so getting your daughter there for 5 o'clock, getting me there for 5 o'clock when I'm coming from Decatur, that doesn't sound too pleasant.
No, it doesn't.
So that's something we're coming, and it would be cool to know 2 people. Actually, does Chad go to 6 or does he go to 5?
No, Chad never goes to 5. He goes to 6 sometimes.
Okay. So, well, he'll have to show up that week.
His is literally how much the firm is working him. It depends on if he shows up at 6 a.m. I think he actually likes, and most of my 5 a.m. class is huge. I think tomorrow we already have 14 or 15 people reserved to show up. 3 of them are brand new. So it's 5 a.m. is big. 6 a.m. not so much. On a good day we're hitting 6 or 7. But generally there's about three or 4 of us in there.
That's cool. So as I told you beforehand, and I've told Joe this many times, because many times over the coffee machine at work, which is one of the best perks we have in our entire office, is our coffee machine. I'm actually going off of CrossFit here. Where
are you going with this one?
well, I want to ask Tim, because and he's a great person to ask this, and I don't want him to say anything that's going to get him fired or be too controversial and get parents calling him tomorrow, because I'm sure they're all going to wake up at midnight and listen. But after the recent school shooting, there's been a lot of talk in the media about we should arm the teachers, which sounds kind of crazy, handing guns to untrained people. But as a person in the industry, is it called an industry, in the business? I don't know. Whatever you call it. And also, apparently, a gun lover because you have trophies in your office. I'd like you to just honestly have a conversation. I'm not for or against. I just want to know what you think about this, the media hysteria of let's give all the teachers guns.
I can't imagine putting guns in all the teachers' hands. Or I mean, that just seems such a foreign idea to me. Law enforcement, they stand under constant scrutiny when they're forced to use a weapon in their job. Look at the scrutiny they're under, and they're trained, and they qualify on a monthly basis. I mean, these are guys that, ladies that do this for a living. I can't imagine putting firearms in teachers' hands. I mean, that's such a foreign idea to me.
Well, one thing that's always in the back of my mind, and I'll share this with any gun lover out there, I don't care, is in a school shooting or in a nightclub shooting or something of that nature. Let's say I have a gun and I'm out partying and drinking beer, which I don't drink, but we're making it more fictional. But somebody comes in shooting. Do you really want a dozen people who have been drinking pulling out their guns and starting to shoot back? I mean, or subsequently, do you now, instead of having one shooter, do you want a teacher shooting back in that direction? Because now you're going over kids. And the first time a teacher shoots a kid, where are we going with that?
Or a kid takes a gun away from a teacher and uses it. I mean, there's so many different scenarios that I don't see a positive end to that solution.
And that's coming from a guy who, based on what I know of you, I don't know if gun lover would be the right tag, but a gun appreciator. You can expand on that if you'd like.
I think gun lover works.
I love to hunt. I mean, I have lots of firearms, but they're in my home. They're not with me at work.
Okay.
I would love to see more resource officers in schools. And
that was going to be my question. Do you guys have a resource officer at school? Or
we do. One for our system does a great job. Probably spends, a higher percentage of his time in the high school, but he's at all the buildings every day. But I do think we have a unique situation in Bremen. We have great relationships with our kids, and I think I've told you, Joe. Every kid in school has my cell phone number, and I'll get messages every day, questions that are going on. So, there's a level of trust there that I think helps us. If something's going on, I mean, I'm not saying that I will always know. I can just say I know more than probably most principals would. I mean that just giving kids easy access.
How many students are at your school?
685.
Okay.
So it's a small school.
I'm looking at. I was trying to get Emmy to go to school out there in Bremen City, but it really is just too far away. Sandra was like, "I'm not driving 40 minutes because their school's 40 minutes away." And I was going to put Emmy in school out there, but she was like, "I'm not driving 40 minutes one way, and then turn around a couple hours later and having to do it again."
It's a cool school. I mean, it really is. It's a unique situation here.
Seriously, one of the few things I really like about it is because of the class I'm in. So Tim is the principal. Three of our athletes are work under Tim. So 3 work under Tim. I think of our 15 or 17 regular athletes we have, I think 8 or 9 of them are teachers. Right. In my class alone. But that's one thing I was curious really about. I'm glad you brought up the firearms thing because I could see. I'd say like I wouldn't have a problem with some teachers, but then the qualification to make that just is beyond doable. I mean, I could see it being happening, but it's not.
I mean, I'm confident with firearms, and I go to the shooting range and I practice, but I still don't think I'm qualified to carry a gun to keep a school safe. I mean, I did ask Tim. I'm not at that level of training.
Scott, I did ask Tim though when he first showed me a picture of his office and he did have his deer trophies in there, and I said, "Do you have a gun in the office?" And I gave him the wink, see if he really. No, he doesn't carry a gun in the office.
Yeah,
absolutely not.
I was like, "You got one, don't you? Come on, tell me you got one."
And based on his comments here, I can just tell he's like he even said just a second ago, I wouldn't even want to bring one to school and be tasked with protecting them. I mean that I completely see your point, and it's interesting because the other day I saw a thing on one of my friend who this guy and we are like We are like fire and hairspray. Whenever we have a conversation, he and I just can go back and forth. But he posted something. He said, "This is the stupidest thing I ever saw," and I even did research before I did this, and it showed an AR-15, and it said, I believe it was like give or take 3,000 feet per second, and it showed a 9mm that I think was 1,000 feet per second.
Yeah,
Whatever the
I think it's about 1,100.
But it showed the speed difference, and I'm like, so I literally, because I wanted to know why it was stupid. I didn't get it. I actually I did a lot of Googling and found out. I'm like, I said, guys, and I saw other people, posting, and they were all jumping on the bandwagon on this. And I was like, guys, I'm not trying to diss you or anything, but it turns out that the stupidity was, and it completely makes sense. They're like, the subject of it was, how do you expect a teacher with a 9mm to compete with somebody with AR-15? And when I thought about it, it's like the difference between if somebody's shooting you from across the classroom, the difference between 3,000 feet per second and 1,000 feet per second is not going to make a difference. It's whether or not you can hit or not. So it's not like the guy with the AR-15 is going to shoot you 3 times faster. So other than the aiming.
Yeah, I can't imagine putting that responsibility on teachers. I mean, their plates are full.
Part of me wants to, like, I've always thought that too, because as a former student, I look back, like, as an adult, I'm like, yeah, Randy's a good example of that. Randy was military, and I would trust him completely, and I know how much he does that, and I would trust him completely. But then, like you said, their plates are full, and I don't really think, like, I don't think it's necessary. I just really don't. That's not the issue. The issue
I don't think it makes us safer.
No, I don't think that's the issue either.
So, in the wake of the recent school shooting and probably every other shooting that's happened, do you get calls from parents or hear about it from parents and stuff like that?
Yeah, we do. I mean, and of course they're on social media with the kids, and if they hear of something that, or see something that they think is is questionable, yeah, I'll hear about it from parents. It's generated great conversation with our kids. But we're having a meeting this week with our students just to sit down, like a roundtable discussion, for any of them that want to come, and I want to talk to them about how to affect political change, and how to have disagreements in agreeable ways. I think as adults sometimes we do a terrible job modeling that, and it's like if you disagree with me, you're wrong and I hate you. Well, no, it doesn't have to be that way. We can all have opinions, and so anyway, that's the goal of our meeting this week, is just to sit around and talk school safety, but also talk about if you want to have an impact. How do you go about contacting politicians? How do you reach out? I mean, how do you have discussions without them escalating to the point of hatred?
So I'm telling you, Scott, this guy's Tim's a good teacher, man.
Well, one thing that I've noticed is nowadays there are so many keyboard jockeys, and I can disagree with you right now, Tim. I'll be fine with it.
Right.
I can disagree with you on Facebook, but so many people that if they disagree with you, they write on Facebook in such a way that the other person, that they attack the other person. I can, and one thing I have learned, you're not going to change anybody's opinion on Facebook. No matter how many times you comment, no matter how many times you call them stupid, you're just not going to change their opinion. It's just,
you also, I don't know that you grow yourself if you're always surrounded by people that that you agree with everything that they say. Some of my closest friends, we're opposite ends of the spectrum politically or on religion, or there's a lot of disagreements that we have, and we're great friends. But unfortunately, social media has made that hard.
Yeah.
You disagree, you put it out there and you insult them, and you make them out to be a terrible person because they have a different view than you.
Well, on occasion, I will post something on Facebook. For a while, I got off Facebook for many reasons, which we won't go into. But one of the things I hate about Facebook is the drama that comes when you post something, when you vent. Yeah. And Joe will, about once or twice a year, post, Scott, This is why you hate Facebook.
I have their money.
It's usually if I post something related to the firm.
Social media has definitely it has complicated my job. I'll say that.
We didn't have these issues
for your sanity. I think for your sanity, we should just leave it at that and not ask any more questions.
Hey, so I actually do know, Scott. I keep looking at the clock. We only got about 10 more minutes.
Yep.
But I do want, because we are fat guys. No more, not fat guys anymore. I'm going to kick us off the school shooting and gun control stuff. I want Tim to talk about two things. One is, Tim, what did you do to lose weight? Obviously, you came to the gym, but the biggest transition has not been actually. It's helped.
No, I gained weight when I went to the gym. Just eat so much better. There's a lot of teaching that goes on at the gym just about what to eat. And when I walked in, there was notes on the board about if you want to order this and this is going on. I had no idea. It's a whole new language. The CrossFit is like going into a Spanish classroom when you've never taken Spanish and you have no idea what everyone's talking about.
Hold on.
All right.
We have a viewer. Let's give a shout out to the viewer, whoever you are. Leave a comment. We'll mention you. Okay, go back to not eating butter.
But I would just say it's just learning to eat better. I mean, learning to eat clean foods. I think that's been the biggest impact. And just getting in the routine. I go 6 days a week, and I'm pretty consistent with that. If I get below that, I'm mad because I don't have a spot to go to, and they added extra coaches so that we don't lose those spots. But I'm a creature of habit, and I want my spot, my time, on my rig in the mornings. By
the way, CrossFitters are very territorial. They really are.
Do we know Jennifer Carter?
Yes.
That's one of his teachers' wives. She's also my optometrist.
She just gave it. There we go. I had to get it on the screen. Best. She gave us a thumbs up. Hi, Jennifer. She's probably the one watching.
Dr. Carter will be she's one of our 5 a.m.ers too.
Oh, cool.
But eating right. I mean, just if you put garbage in, you go garbage out. That's just what they say that all the time, and it's the truth. I was 310 pounds, and I'm 245 now. Still got a ways to go, but I think that's pretty good. Even though I'm still overweight, but my muscle mass is also significantly higher than it was. I'm able to do things I couldn't do a year ago.
Jennifer's comment is, Coach Carter and I like our spot too.
Yes,
people. Coach Carter definitely likes his spot. Don't take his spot.
Okay.
They're extremely territorial. And it does make me happy just to move them around, just to watch them flounder around a little bit.
Yeah, Joe likes to poke the bear. Like any minute now, he's going to talk about the multiple internets. There's only one damn internet.
Poke the bear. I think that's where the bear tattoo comes from. Poke the bear.
Aardvark.
Joe, you didn't get that on the screen. You need to lean back, brother.
You saw me. The bear tattoo.
There you go. Okay, the bear is on the screen now.
It's an aardvark.
So here's the joke that goes around, right? It looks like a bear. Can you see it on the screen? So for everybody not doing it, I have a bear tattoo on my bicep. The problem is it's a nice bear until I flex, and then it becomes an aardvark.
God. Oh my God.
Bear?
You never told me that.
Aardvark. So they like to poke fun of me.
You should never have let him tell me that, because every time you bring up the internet, I'm going to pull out the aardvark.
We play hard in the mornings.
Yeah, we don't hold back. So what's one of the things one super thing I'm really proud of Tim is he's really gotten his diet under control. And I think just this week you were at a seminar or a meeting of something, and they had Waffle House there, and he was like, I just want waffles, man. I just want waffles. And I told him, go get some eggs or go get some bacon. No, they didn't have bacon or eggs. He stood strong. So much. I think he's a lot better than I am a lot of times.
Keeping in mind that the Waffle House is the cornerstone of my diet. Let's not go down that rabbit hole.
But no waffles. You don't have waffles.
No. No waffles. No waffles.
Bacon and eggs you can do.
Now, I'm I don't know what exactly to ask. I was listening before I went TT, leading into this. I know, Tim, you said something about international mission trip and FCA and a few other things, and you also mentioned religion a little while ago, and it sounds like you're doing some good stuff there. So I'll shut up and let you tell me about your mission trip and stuff like that.
We are going to Honduras. We got 34 high school students that are going on a mission trip to Honduras for spring break. This will be our third year going with the school. There's a local church that did it. I got invited 4 years ago to go with them, and there were 4 or 5 high school kids that went, and I just fell in love with the trip. So we got with our FCA leadership and just made the move to plan it through our Fellowship of Christian Athletes. And I think last year we had, 3 years ago we had 7 kids that went. Last year we had 15, and this year we're at 34. So we keep doubling the number of kids that are going. And this is something we're committed to. We'll keep doing it every spring break. We'll build houses. We've raised $10,000 this year. This group has, and we'll build 6 houses while we're over there.
Okay, so the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, and he's doubling it.
He's doubling your results.
So, for a 34 student trip to a foreign country where most of them don't speak the language and they probably don't have air conditioning, and many other modern conveniences, how many parents go on a trip like that?
We have a few parents that are going. My wife goes. There's another couple that actually help. They kind of lead the trip. Marty's a good friend of mine that he goes over and spends. He probably goes over 5 times a year, so he's a regular over there. The people in the organizations that we'll be working with, we know them. We go back to the same organizations every year, so it's cool that once a year to go back and have that week with people that have kind of become like family. So it's exciting.
That does sound awesome. Now, I was a high school band geek, and we went on trips every year. We went on a trip, and we could open up some of the stories about swimming pools and being accused of drinking beer underwater and stuff like that. But my point of me this rambling is we had to raise funds and stuff. And the way we did that is we sold sandwiches and every other damn candles and wrapping paper and cookies and whatever. How are you guys funding the kids getting down there?
The kids fund their own way. The trip is $550 plus their plane ticket. So the plane tickets, we got them for around $750, and then passport I think is around $150. So we told the kids to plan around $1,500 each. But then we raise money to have for our build funds, what we call
okay.
That. And we'll provide, like, we'll build 6 houses. We're taking lots of stuff. We work today at the school packing up stuff that we've collected that we'll give out at the hospital, and we get a lot more access in the hospital over there than we would in the U.S. I mean, we pretty much go everywhere over there. We'll go in and meet all the new moms and new babies. There'll probably be 75 new babies born while we're there. And we'll take diapers, and we'll just have some gift baskets for all the new moms there. And then we'll do some workout as a village. We'll go out and do some ministry there with some food and clothes and things like that. But the long-term difference that we're making is with the houses that we'll build.
Yeah. So, and this is again through your school and future
Fellowship of Christian Athletes.
Fellowship of Christian Athletes, FCA, and so it's not affiliated with any church. It's just the school and the FCA.
It's just the school, and our churches have been a big part of our FCA.
Okay.
The church I attend, they pay for one of the houses. We've raised money for 5, but our church will pay for one of those houses, and then there's been other churches and that have supported their youth and helped them raise money. I mean, because it's they're the 34 kids that are going. We're not affiliated through an individual church. I mean, there's that's whether they go to church or whether they go to their own churches, but they're not they're not affiliated with the church that I attend. This is purely through FCA. Okay,
cool. Well, that's really interesting, and maybe in the future on one of our weeks that we decide to have a guest, we can get an update on how everything went down there.
Oh man, I'd love to do that. It's great. I mean, it's the highlight of my year. I can't wait.
Man,
he talks about it. I would say he does talk about it a lot at the gym.
Kind of like me and Tour de Pink.
Yep, that's it. That's That's Scott's yearly thing or annual thing that he does, and it's
Actually, last year was a triannual. And this year
so
it's a duannual,
My
biannual.
my daughter is just sold out for it. I mean, and she's trying to talk me to let her do a summer intern, where she could go and spend about a month there with the family, and maybe next year. She wants to so badly, and I trust the family that's over there. It's kind of strange. Elizabeth speaks almost no Spanish, but she wants to go stay with them and just immerse herself in the culture over there.
Well, maybe while you're down there, you can find her a CrossFit box so she can, keep up with her workouts. So
Oh,
she
yeah.
Hey, I'm just excited because I actually get to go out in the mornings. The guys go out and the guys and girls, they go out and run, down the mountain, and I've never been able to do it. So this year, I'm at least going to be able to attempt to do it.
That's awesome, man.
That is awesome.
And I'll tell you, last year, in my weight loss journey, I lost a lot last year, and about 10 years ago, give or take, a friend of mine challenged me to do a ride up in North Georgia called the Six Gap Century. And I said, yeah, that's it. Next year, I'll get in shape to do that. And then next year, I said, yeah, next year, I'll get in shape to do that. And then next year, I said, yeah, that's a dumb idea. I don't remember exactly what I wrote it off, but last year, in I think like April, I don't remember exactly, I just got like a notion that came over me that I'm like, I need to do Six Gap this year, and I actually did it, and it was one of the hardest bike rides of my life, with 11,000 feet of climbing.
Wow!
But when I did it, and that feeling you're going to get down there when you attempt it and do it you're just gonna be like, man, this is great. You can
think of me while you're running, Tim.
That's right.
Joe, you hear yelling at me right now. Tim, hurry up. Tim, scaling you down. You don't have to run the whole mountain. You'll be like, I'm running the whole mountain.
I'm running the whole mountain.
You need to find out what sound an aardvark makes, so you can just like play that in your iPod or something while you.
That's how my nose is.
I think he's telling you number one.
So, anyway, guys, we promised we would never go over an hour, and we've done it twice now, but we're not too much over it. Just my quick update is, you know how to find my stuff on Tour to Pink, and I'm looking for donations. I have not been aggressively pursuing my friends for donations, but I am now down to less than 45 days to the ride. So expect emails, messages on Facebook, text messages, phone calls, and everything else, because I still have about $1,200 to raise before tax day. So I don't really feel.
I say look forward to. I would say if you want to see Tim, get on our Facebook page. I'm gonna share 1 year before after stuff, Tim.
Yeah, great.
See his journey on our Facebook page.
Awesome. Right. Tim, you got anything else you want to wrap up with?
No, thank y'all so much for having me.
Oh, and thanks, man. I had a good time. I'm gonna hit end, Tim. I'm gonna hit end broadcast, and then we can wrap up our parting comments off the air. But
and I'll see you at 5 a.m. Tim.
All right.
I'll be asleep at 5 a.m. and I'm ending, and we'll talk in a second.